Okay, so Vlogpose with the second episode of Future Diary. Okay, where do I begin with this one? I guess the beginning. Okay, so Yuki comes to school the next day. He's still trying to process everything that happened from the first episode. I mean, think about it. He was almost killed by a serial killer. So he's in class, and there was a substitute teacher that filled in saying, "Yeah, your teacher's out for right now, so I'll fill in the best I can." So anyway, going on about their class. After that class, and Yuki's like, I need to talk to somebody about this because this is so screwed up, which it is screwed up. But he doesn't really know who to turn to except for Gasai. So he walks up to her and is like, "Hey, can we talk?" And she's like, "Yeah, maybe later. I'm about to go to gym." Which, I get it. She doesn't want to be late for her class. She's a straight A student. But at the same time, I just feel that goes against Yuno's character, especially since I've seen the series a few times, that she was just kind of giving him the cold shoulder there, which just doesn't seem in character for her of, "Oh yeah, Yuki, I'll do anything for you because I love you," which, I don't know, it just felt out of character for me, but that could just be my opinion of that. So then we have some lady in a dress ask, "Hey, where's the faculty lounge?" Which, we don't know who this character is right away, until she started asking Yuki some red flag questions of like, "Did you know your teacher was a serial killer? He died yesterday. Apparently you killed him because you're first." And he's like, "Oh, yeah." Fortunately, by that time, Yuno got what was going on because all the updates on her phone tied to Yuki realized, Yuki's in trouble right now. So then she comes to the rescue, kinda, and basically knocks her out of the window. Uryu Minane is her name. 9th is her number. So she is a diary user, of course, because she knew about 9th. She knew about 3rd. So she's out in the courtyard of the school, and she has the entire school hostage, ready to blow anything up whenever she wants. Yuki has a dead end of 2:04, and so he's got, like, I don't know, I think it said 3 hours or whatever. But supposedly he's going to die today. And so Yuno says, "Oh, don't worry, we're going to get through this." Meanwhile, the cops are, of course, there after all the explosions happen. Now, there was one part that was really cool where, and I've actually dealt with some similar situation to this in real life, not really with explosions, but, okay, so, Yuki looks at his phone, okay, there's going to be an explosion in Class 2C, and they look, oh, that's right there, so they have to run out of the way. Okay, the explosion's going to happen here. Well, back in, it'd be 2003? I think it was 2003. Yeah. We were on vacation. We were in Indiana, going back to Kentucky, this place that we were staying at in Kentucky. And there was a tornado that seemed to be chasing us. We were in a camper store, and there was all these tornado sirens and everything. We had to hang out in the camper break room because it was right in the middle of the store and it was protected and everything. Well, cleared up, and long story short, we were on the road going back to our campsite in this place in Kentucky, and a tornado spotted in such exit, and we're like, "Oh, well, that's that exit right there. Okay, I guess we're not getting off at that exit because there's a tornado there. We'll get off at the next one. Tornado spotted at this exit." "You mean that one? Okay, we're just going to keep going." So yeah, random story with tornadoes, but it felt like this tornado was following us, kind of like these explosives were following Yuki and Yuno around. So anyway, they're going up and down stairs and everything. There's explosions going off, and Yuno says, "Okay, so how about instead of finding where they are, how do they affect you? I guess, how do they hurt you? Or maybe some of these bombs are a little bit less severe, and maybe we can hide out here or something." And that's when Yuki realizes that he's not included in his own diary, and that's just the way that, for one, that he wrote them originally, and it just kind of carried on with that tradition of what's going on around him without really including him, which kind of goes against what a diary does. Like, I don't know, you write in a diary of so and so is really cute. Oh, and I don't know. I don't have a diary. It's a good thing, I guess. But yeah, his diary doesn't really specify what is happening to him, just what's going on around him. So that's when Yuno says, well, that's okay, because mine focuses on you, and so I can use my diary to focus on how your reactions are doing while you react to where the explosions are or whatever. And so the two of them are basically the perfect team right now. And they kiss, and Yuki says, I'm not using her, which, yeah, you are, Yuki. You're using her. But he says, I'm not using her, I'm utilizing her. It's kind of the same thing. So yeah, she says, "Oh well, why don't we go to the other side of the school? There's other students there. I'm sure your friends are willing to help you." And so they sneak to the other side of the school, and meanwhile, Ninth is giving her demands and everything to the teachers. And we see Kozuka, which we saw in the first episode. Just kind of I don't know if he's a bully. He's just kind of a mean kid. And Kozuka spots him and tackles Yuki to the ground. Meanwhile, we hear that Ninth is giving negotiations with the teachers in the break room, saying, yeah, all you guys are safe as long as you give me Amino. Keep him away from his phone and watch out for his crazy girlfriend. And so naturally you have a couple of students that are holding Yuno by the arms while Yuki is tackled to the ground, and a couple of students, Kozuka and some other kid, carry Yuki out to the courtyard right in front of Ninth, who says that there are explosives in between him and her. And it wasn't until Yuno's looking out the window and she realized the severity of the situation. She realized, this was my fault. I was the one that told Yuki that he can rely on his friends, and then here his friends are. They turn him into Ninth, and so she says, so they made a liar out of me. And so naturally, because Yuno's crazy and is afraid of what Yuki's going to think of her, like, oh no, this is all my fault. I betrayed Yuki in some indirect way. And so she goes crazy. One of our many instances of where we get to see her crazy, where she is running down the hall, which appeared to be super fast speed, which, whatever. So there's explosions and killing all these students, and Ninth's like, huh, alright, we have somebody, loose cannon, she said. And that's when the cops, one of the cops says, okay, I'm going in. And we recognize him as a diary user. So he walks up to the scene next to Yuki, and so Ninth is like, hey, get out of here, Fourth. So Ninth and what we now know as Fourth, this cop, are exchanging back and forth, and Ninth says, okay, well, I can have you die, I can blow up all these students, or you can just shoot Yuki now and save all the rest of the students. And Fourth's like, well, one death is less than all these students' deaths. He says, well, don't take it personal, and your death is going to weigh on me. And so Yuki's like, just promise that my death is going to mean more than the useless life, or however he words it. Which, again, kind of shows on how much of a wuss Yuki is during these first few episodes. But just so happens that right before Fourth pulls the trigger, Yuno jumps out a window. I don't know if she had it looked like a fire extinguisher that she was about to hit Ninth with, which of course she dodges out of the way because she's Ninth. And my finger's starting to bleed. So then that caused a distraction for Fourth to say, okay, well, if you want to make your life useful, why don't you go help her? And so then he runs towards Yuno and his phone, and Yuno says, hey, Yuki dodged to the left because there's a mine there, which is kind of unusual for her to know where all these mines are because her updates are only 10-minute intervals, but I guess she would see, okay, Yuki dies unless he runs to the left, so I guess that makes sense. So he manages to grab his phone. Meanwhile, Ninth is pressing all these explosions after him, trying to catch him in the explosion, but it just barely misses him. So then he pulls out a dart, he pulls it out, and he's about to get Ninth's phone, and Ninth, naturally, reaction, uh-oh, oh no, oh no, oh no, and then at the last second, the dart goes into her eye. Very disturbing imagery there. So it's like, so you have the blood there, and my eye is hurting just talking about that scene. Yeah. So she's on the ground, and Fourth says, okay, Ninth, this is it. And she says, screw you. And under her dress, a bunch of rockets shoot out, which I don't get how that happens, but whatever. And then she's on a motorcycle, and she flies over Fourth and escapes through the gate, and so you're like, what? So this part was a little strange. It makes sense. Okay, she has the escape diary, so she can plot out any escape, which is kind of how Fourth and Ninth are kind of intertwined with Fourth's case diary, where any case that he's working on, he gets relevant updates on it, including on how it's going to play out. And so between those two, that's the perfect cat and mouse, where you have the cop and the criminal's always trying to escape from the cop, and the cop gets all those updates on where the escapee is going to try to capture her. Now, one of the things I noticed with Ninth is she was in the first episode behind one of the cops, Nishijima. He's kind of, I don't know, the co-captain to the chief or whatever. And she was right there with him, which kind of is weird, because I thought, okay, well, if she's this hardened criminal that you've been trying to track down for a while, what is she doing next to one of your own lieutenants? I think that does get explained later on in the story, but that is something that caught my eye. What else was I going to say? Okay, also, Murmur says at the end of the episode, like, I'm sure you're wondering on how everybody knew that Yuki was first. Well, naturally, Fourth was trying to track down Third because he's a criminal, and Ninth was right there during all those from happening, or while those were happening. And since First takes down Third, that puts him on the radar of Fourth. Oh yeah, he also talked to one of the cops, so that kind of throws him into the mix too on why he was on Fourth's radar as well. And since Ninth was keeping an eye on Fourth, then she was able to keep an eye on First from that. Am I following? Are you following? Because this is... Honestly, I don't even know if I'm making sense. I can barely understand what I'm saying myself here. But First kills Third. Since Fourth was already tracking Third, he was able to then see what was going on with First. And since Ninth was keeping an eye on Fourth, that's how she was able to keep an eye on First. I think I got that right. So Murmur was able to explain that all nicely and everything. So Ninth got away. So unlike with Third, Ninth was not defeated in this episode. And so we had, 4 diary users in a single episode? Technically 5 if you count all the flashbacks of Third. So that's a pretty interesting turnout. So we've already seen almost half of the diary users, because we've already met First, Second, Third, Fourth, and Ninth. And Third's already dead, but we still have 4 out of 5 still alive right now. And at the very end of the episode, we have an interesting alliance forming with First, Second, and Fourth. The Future Diary Alliance is what he calls it. It's like, yeah, corny, but what do you say? We get to stay alive. Because Fourth right now, he doesn't seem to be interested in becoming God. He just like, I just want to take down criminals, which, hey, good for you, Fourth. We could use more people like you. And less Ninths in the world. Although she is a cool character, but in reality, Ninth is probably not a good person to be around, because, well, she is a terrorist after all. She did blow up a school and murdered plenty of students. We definitely don't want those people in the world, so we want more cops that are able to take those people down. So thank you, cops. You're doing a good job. Keep it up. Until then, this has been Vlogpose, and I hope that you guys enjoyed the second episode of Future Diary. I certainly enjoyed it. And I will maybe catch you guys in the third episode. Let's get this conversation going. Let's keep talking about Future Diary. There's so much to unpack in this 25 episode series, 24 plus an OVA, which I will talk about the OVA. Let's talk about that. Let's continue this conversation in the comments. What do you think of Yuki? Is he the most useless character that you've ever seen in an anime, or are there worse? What about Yuno? Is she awesome? Is she weird? Is she annoying? I think she's a great character. She's probably one of my favorite female anime characters, just because she's great. So those are some of my reactions. Maybe you guys can give me your reactions, your thoughts, your comments. Maybe there's something that I'm missing, something that I'm confused on that you guys understand a little bit better, or maybe I clarified something for you. Let's talk about it. And I will catch you in the third episode of Future Diary. Catch you then.